Was running into a little bit of an issue today. One thing I was going to be doing was showing you guys one of my GPTs here that I built. But I keep having the documentation go missing and the features changed. So see if we can replicate that now. Okay, certainly didn't anticipate showing anybody the back end of this thing. Gonna upload my knowledge files. I would actually be pretty upset about this if I didn't just make a major push to this yesterday. That's about the only reason this isn't the biggest pain in the butt and everything's lost because, well, I just updated it all yesterday. You can see here that web browsing is enabled, code interpreter is enabled. Essentially, this is just a GPT built on ChatGPT 4 for anyone that's unfamiliar. And now let's go into it. Okay, let's save those changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 files. Sometimes I come back and there's 6. Sometimes I come back and there's 4. What have you. What we're going to be doing here, I was initially going to be showing a test between the output of DataCite AI, my GPT, and standard ChatGPT 4. I was going to ask for help writing this essay. Comprehensive analysis of the role of urban green spaces in enhancing mental health amidst digital era challenges. Essentially, it's just going to be a very detailed, multi-step, multifaceted essay. I was just going to be using this to show some of the skills, if you shall call them that. Capabilities, probably a better word, of my GPT model. Let's get started here. Copy and paste that in. I initially noticed the issue with my files and settings being changed when I'd later get to the part where we're going to be searching the internet. I'd love to see this search the internet this time through, but previously it has been returning errors. I went over, saw that web browsing was disabled for some unexplained reason, but then one thing we had after that was the file started going missing. So we start the whole process here. It's going to do its initial scan. To address your request effectively, I will apply the Adaptive Query AI framework, which is just a framework I've done a little bit of work on. Actually, that's a bit of an understatement. But anyway, continuing. It's going to sit here, ask itself the questions, understand the ecological importance of urban green spaces. Perfect. Examine the influence of digital era on lifestyle choices and mental health and how this intersects with the use of urban green spaces. Great. Perfect. Now we're going to pause a little bit. It's going to reflect. Perfect. Proceed. I like where it's at, so now we're going to go into brainstorming. It's now going to go through a couple of different, paths. We've got our simplified outcomes, programmed a little Occam's razor into here. Got our complex scenarios, and also the challenging assumptions to, essentially play devil's advocate. Not all green spaces are equal. Boy, do I know that's true. Again, it pauses and reflects. It's going to now generate search terms to later, further research this. They're going to be in line with the needs of, let's say, the direction it's trying to take here. Innovative urban planning for green space integration. Yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, I keep having the files go missing. We'll see how this goes. Best case scenario, this video is pointless. Worst case scenario, I'd love to get some input on this and some thoughts from all of you. Come on, buddy. But anyway, I guess we can call this a demonstration also of DataCite AI. It's pretty complex. Bunch going on under the hood here in regards to logic changes built into the ChatGPT 4 framework. All using supporting documents at this point. There's no external API calls or anything like that. I was truly just trying to see how far we could push no code, and it's been surprising thus far, to say the least. Okay. With these reflections in mind, I will now proceed to informed hypothesis crafting phase. Perfect. So this is going to be where it starts laying out where it thinks it's going with all this. Excuse me, I'm stuffed up today. Urban green spaces significantly contribute to the improved mental health by offering natural environments that counterbalance the stresses of urban living and digital immersion. Yeah, I believe that. Honestly, looking at most of these, I believe those. So it's off to a good start. Now we're going to refine a little bit. All right, here we go. In this phase, I refined the initial hypotheses, incorporating new insights and perspectives to enhance their accuracy and depth. So what it did was generated all of these hypotheses in here. It then paused and reflected on them. Perfect. And the way I have everything set up in the back end is it's going to learn from these, it's going to take them all into account, and it's going to reform its hypotheses. So let's look at a refined one. Urban green spaces not only offer a respite from urban stressors and digital fatigue, but also actively contribute to the mental health by fostering mindfulness, community connections, and physical health. This effect is amplified by diverse green space designs that cater to the varying needs and preferences, and so on and so on and so on. We're going to pause and reflect now. Again, this is where it's first going to ask me for feedback. You notice this has all just been chugging along on its own once it got started. There's going to be 2 checks in a row here for direction and feedback. I'm currently very happy with where this is going, so... Oh no. Well, that stinks. But let's see where this goes. It should be a bit quicker now. I'm unsure if I'll cut this part out. I really just want to get to the part where we're searching to see if it then tries to look internally because, hey, bad news, web browsing is no longer enabled. Again, just a little more in-depth of a rundown through this. We're really trying to, approach this from all angles. Tried to avoid a lot of the logic traps that ChatGPT generally falls into. It's actually got its start. I was arguing, I think the first argument I passed through it was with my girlfriend's 12-year-old. I think we asked it to, argue the case that Captain Hook wasn't actually a bad guy. He was simply misunderstood and a victim of Peter Pan or something like that. It started off as a silly thing. One of my friends, the first thing he ran through it was, argue the case that Wario's a libertarian, right? It's just... But now we get to the point where what I'm trying to say is this is very broad. This can tackle just about any case. If you want to make a fusion recipe and actually have it make sense as opposed to just mashing together ingredients, you can see the fact that it'll argue everything out with itself. What that's really going to be doing is then building upon itself and actually working through a problem as opposed to just attacking it head on as ChatGPT likes to do. Closest thing I can see that this would be in comparison to is Orca 2 from Microsoft, which just recently was announced, released, previewed, what have you. But that is a little more simplified of a version than what I have going on here with DataSite AI. I'm very much so one of those show me your work kind of people, and I love just watching AI get to where it's going. I did a lot of this trying to understand exactly where we're going on, what's going on in the back end. It's a show me your work kind of situation. All right. The mental health benefits of urban green spaces are not only immediate, but also have long-term effects. Okay. So, even though it did the whole thing all over again, it's still largely coming to a lot of the same conclusions, which is not necessarily something I could say for ChatGPT natively, as a lot of you probably know. Here's the enhancement. Next, we're going to go to feedback processing and application. Perfect. So this actually worked this time. You know what? I rarely click that, but here you go. Have a bone. Next phase is feedback processing and application, where I will actively solicit and integrate your feedback. Perfect. Provide any feedback. No feedback needed. Proceed. I probably should have said an S. There we go. Let's see what we come up with. This should be one final check. Okay, this is kind of a synopsis of everything we've gathered so far. It's going to boil it all down into the direction we're going to pursue. From here, we're going to tell it to proceed once more. It's then going to further refine these ideas. You could actually just output the work thus far. I believe this would be a robust enough outcome, but I really wanted to be able to drill down into things. Your feedback's crucial. Proceed to the next step. Here we go. Oh, you're kidding me. What time are we looking at? Okay, cool. So I'm going to take this time. Let's go back to our edit. see what's there. Again, man, did I not want to show anybody this. Okay, where's all my files here, folks? ChatGPT, that's not really making any sense. You haven't turned off web browsing yet, but where did all my files go? That's kind of concerning. You know, some of us are working on projects we're planning on selling in the GPT store. I don't know. Just left with a lot of questions. I'd love to hear thoughts from the rest of you all. Anybody who watches this video. I don't really have a subscriber base, so I'm curious to see who sees this, but going to be fishing around for some answers. I've noticed that none of my other GPTs are doing this at the moment. I don't know. Not going to go down that route, but just left with a lot of questions here, honestly, on what's going on. Okay. Anyway, folks, seriously, love to hear your thoughts. It's not making sense to me, and I'll probably submit a support ticket. All right. Take care.